Earth is a school where we get to come here and learn lessons. Hey guys, I'm Laura and I make videos that will awaken your awareness. Now I wanted to make this video because I've learned a lot of this from Dolores, who's an amazing lady. I talk about her a lot in my videos. She was a hypnotherapist who hypnotized thousands of people all over the world. She traveled around doing it. And she noticed that when people put under hypnosis, that she's made a lot of amazing discoveries, and there's a lot of like similarities between what people say when they're put under. And you know, again, these are people that are like in different countries that don't even know each other. So she's got like 20 books out, and I've only read one so far, but there's a few of her books on my list that I want to read. And the one I read was The 3 Waves of Volunteers and the New Earth, which is about the Great Awakening. Now, I also watch a lot of videos with her just talking about just things in general to do with like the universe, souls, and the reason we're on Earth. I just find it fascinating. So this is why I wanted to make this video. So she pretty much like tells us that we come to Earth. Earth is basically a school to learn how to manipulate energy. And so what that means is basically we can manifest and create our realities. So we're a spiritual being that's here having a human experience, and we have the ability to create and manifest our desired realities. And that's what she means by manipulating energy. You're manipulating the energy to get the reality that you want. And she also talks about how our soul comes here, we choose to come here, and our soul comes here to learn lessons. The lessons are so that our soul can grow and evolve. So when we come here and we're experiencing like difficult things in life, like we all have ups and downs, we all experience certain types of traumas, or we have hard times, but those are where we learn the lessons, and that's how we grow and evolve, right? And so she talks about how our soul agrees to what lessons it wants to come here and learn so that it can grow and evolve how it wants to, right? So your soul, like if you've had a difficult time in life, just know that your soul chose to come here and experience it. And as messed up as it sounds, this is even to do with things like experiencing sexual abuse. For some reason, your soul chose to come here to go through these experiences, to learn some sort of lessons from that, to grow and evolve. Again, it's messed up, right? Who would want to come here and experience stuff like that? But that's what the soul chooses. The other thing that the soul chooses is things like your parents. Your parents are chosen before you come here. Even your death is planned out before you come here. All the lessons you want to learn, the country you live in, everything's decided upon before you get to come here. And the other interesting thing is as a soul, we decide all this, we plan it all out, and then we come in here, and then it's like we come in with amnesia. We completely forget like everything we planned to come here to do, right? So we come in with amnesia. It's crazy. And that's what a spiritual awakening is. It's like when you end up waking up to this sort of stuff, right? It's a spiritual awakening because we have that amnesia. And so you may experience things like negative things in life. This is a way that you can have a bit more of a positive outlook on it. It's like, oh man, even though that was a hard time, even though that was tough, for some reason my soul wanted to experience it. So for me, I know that I was destined to come here to have a bad back, right? I was born with like an extended curve in my spine, which isn't actually that much of a bad thing. It wasn't a huge problem, other than I have really tight muscles in my legs. But then at 19 I broke my back, and then had to have a spinal fusion. So having to like deal with that, I'm like, oh, obviously my soul chose to come here to experience it for whatever reason, right? And that's how I know I was destined to have a bad back, was because I was already born with like an extended curve in my lower back. So that's just part of me being here. It's part of my journey. And so you may have something that you've had to go through that was really hard. You may have noticed you came out the other end a better person for it. You may have realized you did learn some sort of lessons there. And that's what it's all about. So we're here to just basically, our soul signed up to certain lessons, and to learn how to manipulate energy and to be able to create, the realities that we want. Another thing she talks about is, so she talks about like the wheel of karma. Now, she said, basically, like, she talks about reincarnation, right? We have lived many past lives. We will live many lives after this one. And you have had past lives. We all have had past lives as other beings. It could be aliens. We could have been a light being. But we could have also been on Earth as an animal, right? So when you think of animals, it's like, this is a realization I had before I even got into Dolores Cannon's work, was the way I view animals is, I think that they have the same like spirit that we have. They're just in a different body. So they just operate with the body that they've got. And I put my theory to the test by the way I interact with animals. Like, I treat them as if they're just an energetic being exactly like us, but they just have a different body. And you can communicate with them on like a energy level, like the tone of voice you use when you speak to them, your body language and your energy. They read all of that, right? And so based off my theory, I become friends with everyone's pets. So I honestly believe they are just a soul like ours. And so she talks about how we've had past lives as animals and stuff, but she also talks about how we've had past lives as things like a tree. Trees have consciousness. And so even someone, like in the book I read, even someone was put under hypnosis and they were talking about their past life as a tree and how amazing it was being a tree. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. So yeah, trees have consciousness, but so does everything else. Like literally everything has consciousness. So she even talks about how she had someone under and she was talking to them and they were talking about their past life as a rock. Like rocks have consciousness. I never thought things like this would be conscious, but apparently they are. And she asked the person, so what was it like being a rock? The response was something like, it was very boring. But the reason you come here as other things first is because it's really hard for a soul to come in as a human first go round, right? Because it's like, it takes a bit of getting used to being here on Earth. So this is why you could come in as a rock or as a tree or as an animal first, just to get a bit more of a feel for Earth, before getting the chance to be a human. Now, there are souls that can come in first go and be a human, but it's really hard for them. And she also talked about this thing that they do is like an imprinting thing, where the soul gets imprinted with other, like, I think it's other people's memories or something from that have been on Earth, so that they can have some sort of sense that they've been here, even though they haven't been here. It's really fascinating stuff. And so anyways, back to the Wheel of Karma. So she talks about the Wheel of Karma. Basically, it's where we're being reincarnated on Earth, and the only way out is to clear your karma, your karmic debt. And she talks about people like humans here that have been stuck on the Wheel of Karma. They're just stuck. They're constantly being reincarnated, and they're not really learning their lessons and evolving and growing and expanding how they're supposed to be, and they're just stuck in this cycle, right? Now, to get rid of your karma, you need to basically learn to forgive anyone that's hurt you. So if you're hanging on to some sort of anger and resentment because someone's hurt you in the past, that's karma. And unless you clear out your karma, you have to come back here, reincarnate back here, until you learn to clear out the karma. Now, in the book, The 3 Ways of Volunteers in the New Earth, she talked about how the humans here were stuck in the Wheel of Karma, and things are really bad on Earth. This was around like the World War II era. Things were really bad here, and so the 3 Ways of Volunteers were souls that heard heard the call to volunteer to come to Earth, and it had to be souls. She talked about how it had to be souls that were like outside souls, because the ones that were already here are stuck in the karmic cycle and they can't get off, they can't get out of it. So they needed outside souls to come in to help these humans get out of this karmic cycle, and also help heal the earth, because things got really bad here, right? So we're going through the Great Awakening right now, and to clear out the karmic debt is you really do have to learn to forgive and let go anyone that's hurt you, right? That's what it comes down to. It's like, you got to understand that forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person. Forgiveness doesn't mean that if someone's like toxic and they have hurt you in some way, that doesn't mean you forgive them and allow them back into your life. That's not what forgiveness actually is. Forgiveness is simply making the decision to let go of those negative emotions, like the anger or the resentment, right? And like forgiving that person and being okay with what happened. You heal yourself, you release it, you let go, and then you won't have that karmic debt anymore. So I've had to, like, understanding this, I'm like, okay, I've had to sort of look back as to, you know, what sort of karmic debt would I still have? Like, who am I still kind of like annoyed with for doing something wrong with me? You're having to like sort of think back and then like learning to like forgive the person for it, basically. Because otherwise you keep getting reincarnated here. And she also talks about how being on Earth, it's a really heavy, dense energy here. It's apparently like the hardest planet to come to. She says only the toughest souls sign up to come here because of how difficult it actually is to be here. So you watching this video, your soul knew it was going to be hard to come here, but it decided it wanted to come here. Okay? And all the lessons, all the bad things you're going through, your soul wanted the lessons from it for whatever reason, right? It gives you a bit of a different perspective on life when you sort of look at it from this way, which is why I wanted to make this video, to share this sort of information and ideas. Because she sort of helped me have more of a positive outlook on life, especially because I'm one of these people that, you could say a conspiracy theorist. I just think a critical thinker, or someone that just doesn't believe what they're being told and looks into things for themselves. And yeah, I just, waking up to like how much corruption's on the planet is kind of like, can be a little bit negative or depressing. But then when I've learned this side of it from Dolores, it's just given me a whole different perspective on it, you know, a more positive perspective. And she, you know, like in my other videos, I talked about the Great Awakening and shifting from 3D to 5D consciousness. So part of the reason these outside souls have had to come in is to assist in a shift in consciousness. Humanity is going to evolve consciously because we have to, because things were so bad here. And so it's such a big thing to be happening in the universe, this shift in consciousness, and the earth itself is going to completely shift into a different dimension. And it's such a massive event. Like, this isn't something that happens in the universe. And so it's such a massive event to be happening for, you know, humanity to be evolving consciously from 3D to 5D, for the whole earth to shift into a different dimension. It's huge, and it's so big that all these other alien beings, light beings, or whoever out in the universe is watching us very closely, like a movie, you know, like because they know this big thing's happening with Earth, and it's like they're sitting there with their popcorn just watching how it play out, basically. And one of my spiritual mentors, apparently, he said that our skies have a lot of alien beings, but we just can't see their ships. And it's something to do with, I read it in her book, it's something to do with the vibrations that they're vibrating way higher than us, so that we can't actually see them unless we bring our vibrations up high enough, or they could reveal themselves if they wanted us to see them. But he pretty much said that there's so many alien ships in our skies watching Earth very closely that if we were able to see them, we would freak out, because it's such a massive event and they're just watching us so closely. So I thought, wow, this is really amazing time to be here, because again, your soul put the hand up to be here during this time, because again, it is such a massive event to be happening. And so your soul's like, yep, I want to be there. I want to just experience it. Apparently there's like she even talks about how there's a waiting list to get in onto Earth, because so many souls are like, they just really want to be here just to experience it. Some souls will be happy just to come here and be in a, be a child for about 5 years and then die. Like again, your death's planned out before you come here. And some of these souls are just so desperate to just be a part of this awakening, this shift in consciousness, that they're like, yeah, I don't care. I just want to be there. If I die at 5 years old, that's okay with me. I just want to say that I was here during this time. So it's crazy. And again, like she said, that there's literally a waiting list for people that, like, for souls that want to come in and just to be here on Earth. So you're already here on Earth. Your soul has decided that it wanted to come here and wanted to be a part of this. And then, because sometimes, life can be hard, right? Life can get you down. You can be depressed. You feel these low vibe states. But you just got to remember, like, even though you're having a hard time and it is difficult to be here, the energy here is so negative and heavy and dense. But at the same time, even though you're having a hard time, just remember there's literally a waiting list for souls wanting to come in on Earth. And you're already here. So you just got to make the most of it and remember, like, the negative things you're going through, there's always going to be some sort of lesson learning there for your soul. So shift that perspective a wee bit. I know, like, I've had hard times, man. I had hard times recently where I injured myself pretty bad, and I was pretty worried because I've already had spinal surgery and it was another back injury, and I couldn't walk, I couldn't sit. I was like stuck on the couch. It took like 2 months to heal, and I was just in such low vibe states because I was so, like, worried and anxious about it. So I get when you're going through hard times, it can be hard to, like, see things from a positive perspective, but you just got to remember to, like, push through and just know that for some reason your soul wants to experience this, and just to make the most of life while you can, because again, like, there's a waiting list for souls wanting to come here on Earth. And again, your soul put its hand up to be here just to experience and be a part of the Great Awakening and this shift in consciousness. So I hope this video shifted your perspective to look at life in a different sort of a way. And I highly recommend, like, reading some Dolores Cannon books. There's a few other ones I want to read, but it's just a time thing, really. But yeah, that's just, if you want to learn more about the universe, like if you're naturally interested in how the universe works, or how even, like, life after, was it like death, the whole death process. She's got a book on, like, death and life. She's got, like, the universe series. She's got even, like, a book out about Jesus, if you're into that sort of thing. Like, she's got about 20 books out, so they're really worth reading if you want to expand your mind. They've got all their transcripts in it, so it's like, all the questions she's asking these people while they're under, and then the sort of responses she's getting back out of these people. It's like, it's crazy. It's mind-blowing what they're saying. And I would love to be put under one day. That would be awesome. But yeah, I highly recommend, if you want to learn more, get your hand on Dolores Cannon books and expand your mind. So I hope you like this video. Feel free to give me a thumbs up or post a comment, or let me know in the comment section if you have read any Dolores Cannon books. I would love to know. But yeah, otherwise, have an awesome day, and if you like this sort of content, subscribe and hit the bell notification, because I make daily videos on my channel. So I hope you stick around. Peace.